You are exhausted, and you cannot sleep. Not just tonight. This has been going on for a while. The tiredness that follows you through the day, the mind that will not stop when the room goes dark, the mornings where you wake up already worn before the day begins. 1 in 3 adults is lying awake right now with the same problem. Not because something is wrong with them, but because no one ever showed them how to cross the gap between exhaustion and rest. That gap is real. The body lying down, the mind still running. The distance between those two states is where sleep goes to die for most people in the modern world. 2,500 years of Buddhist practice have been sitting with this exact problem, watching it, understanding it, and developing specific responses to meet it at its root. Tonight, we draw from 5 of those principles, each one addressing a different layer of what stands between you and genuine rest. People who stay with this practice find their way to sleep that actually feels like rest, to mornings that feel lighter than they have in years. You do not need to believe that will happen tonight. You only need to stay. Find a position your body can settle into. Let your hands rest open, and let this be the last effort your mind makes tonight. Here is what is happening inside the body right now. During the day, the nervous system runs on cortisol, a hormone that keeps you alert and capable of handling whatever the hours demand. Cortisol has a natural rhythm. It peaks in the early morning and falls steadily through the hours that follow. By evening, it is supposed to be low enough for a clear internal signal to arrive. The day is done, the threat has passed, it is safe to let go. For most of human history, that signal arrived without any effort on your part. The sun went down, the fire burned low, the tribe grew quiet, and the body simply followed. Sleep did not require practice then. The conditions arrived and the body knew what to do. Today, those conditions no longer arrive on their own. Screens tell the brain it is still noon. Late emails tell the nervous system the workday has not ended. The endless scroll, engineered to produce a small spike of urgency every few seconds, keeps cortisol elevated long past the hour it should have fallen. The body lies down, but the system does not switch. The mind keeps running the day's operations in a body that has no more day left to fill. The Buddha observed this same pattern across decades of watching human experience. He watched people who were tired but could not rest. He watched the mind rehearse tomorrow, replay old conversations, manufacture anxieties from nothing. And across his many teachings, he returned again and again to one central observation. The restless mind is not broken. It is conditioned. And what is conditioned can be met with practice. Tonight, we draw from 5 of those teachings. Not a single method the Buddha presented in one place, but 5 principles he returned to throughout his life, each one addressing a different layer of what stands between you and rest. One more thing before we begin. What we are doing tonight is different from trying to force sleep. Trying to sleep is like trying to open your hand by squeezing it. The harder you press toward rest, the more the nervous system registers effort, and effort is the signal that work is still in progress. These 5 practices do not ask the mind to stop. They give the mind somewhere specific and quiet to go. One by one, they restore the signal the body has always known how to follow. The first practice begins now. Before the mind can settle, the body needs to know that it is safe. This is not a metaphor. The nervous system makes a continuous assessment of everything it can sense. The temperature of the air against the skin, the quality of the light in the room, the pressure of fabric against the body, the sounds arriving from outside, the sounds the body itself is making. When that assessment finds anything unresolved, the system stays alert. When it finds nothing left to manage, the system begins to release. For 2,500 years, Buddhist practice has understood something essential about this moment. The deliberate act of withdrawing from stimulation as the day ends, quieting the senses, closing the channels through which the world reaches in, is not deprivation. It is preparation. You are not cutting off the world. You are sending the nervous system a signal it has been waiting for. There is nothing more that needs your attention tonight. The watch is over. You can step down from the post. This first practice works from the outside in. The room first, then the body, then the mind's relationship to the night itself. We move slowly through each layer. There is no part of this that needs to be rushed. Begin where you are. Take a moment to notice the room as it actually is right now. Not to judge it, not to compare it to any ideal, simply to register what is here. The surfaces around you, the temperature of the air against your face and hands, the quality of the light falling into the space, the sounds present in this room, near ones and far ones, familiar ones and ones you cannot place. You do not need to do anything with any of this. Simply notice it. This noticing is already the beginning of the practice. If any screen is still on in this room, turn it off now. Not down, not turned away, off. The light that screens produce reaches into the brain's chemistry and actively suppresses the signal the body needs to initiate sleep. This effect continues for up to 90 minutes after the last exposure. Every minute the screen stays on is another minute that signal is delayed. Every minute it stays off is a minute the signal is allowed to build. Turning it off is not a small gesture tonight. It is the most direct message you can send the nervous system, that part of the day is finished. The information has stopped arriving. You can begin to close. Now consider the light that remains. If the only light available is bright and white or blue-toned, work with what you have. But if you have access to a lamp with warmer tones, yellow, amber, anything close to the color of late sunset or candlelight, use it now and let the cooler lights go. The brain's oldest regions read warm light as fire, as dusk, as the ancient signal that the active hours have ended. The nervous system does not need to understand this consciously. It simply responds. It has been responding to this cue for longer than human memory can reach. temperature is part of the preparation too. The body prepares for deep sleep by lowering its core temperature slightly, moving warmth from the center outward toward the hands and feet, releasing it into the air around you. This process happens more easily when the room is cool, not cold. Cool. If you can open a window a few inches, do so now. If not, consider whether the weight of the covers you have is right for the beginning of the night rather than the deepest part of it. You can always add warmth as the hours pass. Starting a little cooler gives the body the conditions it needs to do its own work. Now consider the sounds around you. Whatever is present, distant traffic, rain, the settling sounds of a building at night, the particular quiet of a late hour. Let those sounds exist as part of the room rather than intrusions into it. You do not need silence. You need only to stop resisting what is already here. The sounds outside this room are confirmation that the world is continuing without requiring anything from you. The night is doing what the night does. Nothing out there needs your attention. Nothing out there is waiting for you to respond. Now bring attention fully to the body itself. Everything you are wearing carries weight and pressure. Most of it you stopped noticing hours ago. The waistband that has been pressing against the skin since morning, the collar sitting at the neck, the elastic at the wrists or ankles that has been working quietly all day. The body registers all of this, even when the mind moved on long ago. That registration takes a small but continuous expenditure of energy. That energy belongs to rest tonight. If any clothing is tight or uncomfortable, loosen it or change it now. There is no urgency in this. Take the time it requires. Comfort at the beginning of the night is not an indulgence in this context. It is a condition. The body cannot fully release into rest while it is still processing physical discomfort it has been told to ignore. If you are wearing socks, consider removing them once you are settled. The feet are among the primary sites through which the body releases heat as it moves towards sleep. Keeping them covered traps warmth the body is actively trying to shed. Let them breathe. Let them release. If your hair is pulled back or held in place, release it now. Let the scalp open to the air around it. The tension held at the scalp is quieter than the tension in the shoulders or the jaw, but it is there. It has been there since you pinned or tied it back this morning. Most people notice it only in the moment it lets go. Let it let go now. Remove anything from your wrists, your hands, your neck, your ears, a watch, a ring, anything the skin has been quietly registering throughout the day and evening. The skin processes every point of sustained contact, even the points too subtle to rise into conscious awareness. Removing them removes that low-level processing from the equation. You will feel the small release almost immediately, a lightness exactly where pressure was, a tiny return of something that had been held without your permission. Now find your position for the night. If it is comfortable for you, lie on your right side. This is the posture found across centuries of Buddhist depictions of the body at rest, turned gently to the right hand resting beneath the cheek or alongside the face, the left arm resting along the left side of the body, the legs stacked softly, knees slightly bent. This posture has been passed down not as symbol, but as instruction, a specific, deliberate way of bringing the body to rest, that practitioners have returned to across many centuries. If the right side is not comfortable for you, find the position that is. The principle is more important than the exact posture. The principle is this: arrive at your position deliberately as an act of intention, rather than simply falling into whatever shape exhaustion creates. There is a meaningful difference between those two arrivals. The body that collapses into bed carries the tension of the day in with it. The body that comes to rest with intention sets that tension down at the edge of the bed and leaves it there. Once you are in position, become still, not rigid. Still, let the movement stop. Now feel the surface beneath you, not to evaluate it, not to wish it was softer or firmer or differently shaped, simply to feel it, to actually register the physical contact between the body and whatever is holding it tonight. The side of the head against the pillow, feel the specific weight of the head resting there. The skull is heavier than most people realize. It has been balanced and carried all day. The pillow is carrying it now. You are not carrying it. The shoulder pressed into the surface below. Feel the exact place where that contact happens. The shoulder has been raised and held and tensed and moved through every hour of this day. Right now, it is doing none of those things. Right now, it is simply resting against something solid that holds its weight without asking anything in return. The hip, the outer thigh, the knee, the calf, the ankle, the outer edge of the foot. Take each point of contact in turn, not rushing from one to the next, arriving at each one, staying a moment, actually feeling what is there before moving on. This surface is holding the entire weight of the body, all of it. Every pound that has been standing, moving, carrying itself through the world since the moment you got up this morning. That weight has somewhere to go now. It does not have to be held up anymore. It does not have to be balanced or managed or carried forward. It can simply go down. Let it go down. Not a single dramatic release, a gradual, unhurried settling. The shoulder dropping a fraction more into the surface beneath it. The hip releasing a little more of the tension it has been holding without your awareness. The neck finding the pillow more fully than it did a moment ago. The jaw beginning to lose the slight grip it has maintained through the entire day. Each part of the body giving up the small effort it was still making, the low-level readiness, the subtle preparation for the next thing that never stopped even after the day did. Stay here for a while. There is no hurry toward the next practice. The night will hold you here as long as this settling needs to take. This is not waiting for something to begin. This is already something. This release of weight into a surface willing to hold it is one of the simplest and most underrated forms of rest available to the human body. Most people move past it too quickly. Tonight, we do not. Keep feeling the contact points as the body settles further. Each breath that passes, the body is a little more on the surface and a little less in the air. A little more arrived, a little less in transit, a little more home. When the body feels it has found its position, not perfectly, just sufficiently, just enough that nothing is asking to move, we come to the final element of this first practice. Before sleep, before breath, before anything that follows, the mind is offered one simple act to perform. Not a task, not a technique, an intention. A quiet, deliberate statement of where this time is going. The mind is always oriented toward something. When that orientation is left to chance, the mind tends to turn toward whatever carries the most unresolved energy, the thing left undone today, the conversation that did not end cleanly, the item on tomorrow's list that has been broadcasting its urgency since mid-afternoon. An intention does not make those things disappear. It does something more useful. It gives the mind a direction that belongs to this hour, so that everything else becomes background noise rather than the main signal. The intention does not need to be elaborate or carefully worded. Something as plain as, "Tonight I give this body the rest it has earned," or "Tonight I let the day be finished," or simply, "Tonight I rest." Choose what feels true for you tonight. Not a formula, a genuine statement from wherever you actually are right now. Say it once, silently or barely aloud, in whatever way fits most naturally. Not as a demand placed on the night, not as a wish hoping for fulfillment, as a simple act of clarity, the same quiet clarity you might use to tell someone at the end of a long day, "I am done now. I am going to rest." That plain, that sufficient, that complete. Let the intention settle for a moment after you have set it. Notice how it feels to have said it. There may be a small resistance, a part of the mind that is not yet convinced the day is truly finished, that wants to return to something left unresolved. Acknowledge that part without following it. The unresolved thing will still be there in the morning. It does not need tonight. Tonight belongs to the body lying here, which has asked for very little and given a great deal. The room is prepared. The body has found its position and its weight has been given to the surface holding it. The intention is set. The first practice is complete. The second practice works with the breath, the bridge between what the mind can direct and what the nervous system actually does. It begins now. Of all the objects the attention can rest on tonight, the breath has a particular quality that nothing else shares. Every other object the mind might turn to, a sound in the room, a sensation in the body, a thought passing through, is something the mind encounters from a distance. The breath is different. The breath is something the mind inhabits from within. It is not out there to be observed. It is in here, moving through the same body that is lying on this surface, in this room, on this particular night. To attend to the breath is to attend to what is most immediately, most undeniably present. There is no closer object available. There is nothing more here than this. The practice of mindful breathing begins with an instruction of extraordinary simplicity. When breathing in a long breath, know that you are breathing in a long breath. When breathing in a short breath, know that you are breathing in a short breath. When breathing out, know that you are breathing out. Know what the breath actually is, as it actually is, in this moment, not in the moment before or the moment that follows. This is where the practice begins. And for tonight, this is enough. Begin by finding the breath where it is most clearly felt. For most people, this is at the nostrils, the precise point where the air enters and leaves the body. Bring the attention there now, not to the idea of the nostrils, not to the image of them, but to the actual physical sensation that is happening at that exact location right now. The feeling of air moving across the skin at the rim of each nostril, the slight coolness on the way in, the slight warmth on the way out, the movement itself, the specific quality of air entering this body in this moment and leaving again. Stay at the nostrils for a few breaths. Just this sensation, just air moving across this one small area of the body. Notice whether each breath is long or short, not as a judgment about what the breath should be, as simple recognition of what it is. Long or short, the way you might notice whether a step you take is large or small, without attaching any meaning to it. Long or short, just that, just knowing. Now follow one complete breath from beginning to end. Begin with the very first movement of the inhale, the moment the air begins to enter at the nostrils. Follow it through the full path inward, through the nostrils, through the passage in the throat, into the chest as the lungs receive it, the ribs widening outward, the belly moving forward slightly, the whole front of the body opening with the breath as it fills. Follow it all the way to the very end of the inhale, the turning point, the brief fullness before the direction changes. Know this entire journey from inside it. Know whether this breath was long or short. Now the exhale, follow it with the same completeness. From the very first release of air outward, through the full movement of the exhale as it leaves, the chest lowering, the belly gently returning, the ribs settling inward, the warmth of the outgoing breath at the nostrils. Follow it all the way to the end, the natural stillness at the bottom of the exhale, the moment when the breath has fully left and the body rests briefly without breath, waiting for the next inhale to arise on its own. Wait there. Do not anticipate the next breath. Let it come when it comes. Was that breath long or short? Know it clearly before the next breath takes over the attention. Continue in this way through several more breaths, each one followed completely, each one known from inside it, from the first movement of air inward to the final stillness at the end of the exhale. Each one long or short, exactly as it is, not as you would prefer it to be. You may notice that some breaths are easier to follow than others. Some are clear and distinct from beginning to end. Others are less distinct, the transitions harder to locate, the turning points less obvious. This is the breath as it actually is. The practice does not require every breath to be equally clear. It requires only that you stay with each one as it is, clear or not, following what is actually here rather than what would be easier to follow. Now let the field of awareness widen slightly, still with the breath at the center, still knowing the breath as it moves, but also opening to the whole body that breathes. The breath does not only move in the chest and the belly, the whole body participates in every breath. With each inhale, feel the rib cage expanding in all directions at once, forward, sideways, and slightly backward into the surface the body is resting on. Feel the movement in the lower back as the breath reaches into the lower regions of the lungs. Feel the gentle shift through the shoulders as the chest fills. Feel the movement all the way up through the neck, the gentle rise that reaches even the crown of the head when the breath is slow and full enough. The whole body participates. The whole body breathes. Breathing in, experience the whole body breathing in. Breathing out, experience the whole body breathing out. The chest releasing, the lower back settling a little more into the surface beneath it, the shoulders dropping a fraction further toward the bed. The whole body on the exhale returning to itself, to the stillness that is its natural state when nothing is being asked of it. Breathing in, the whole body. Breathing out, the whole body. Each cycle complete in itself. Each cycle a full participation of the entire organism in this one act of being alive and at rest. As the attention remains, with the breath across many cycles, something begins to happen that does not need to be engineered or produced. The breath begins to calm. Not because you have instructed it to calm, not because you are controlling its pace or depth, but because the breath is in continuous conversation with the state of the body and mind. When the mind is scattered, the breath reflects that scattering. When the mind is gathered and still and turned inward toward the breath itself, the breath reflects that too. It quiets. It deepens. It finds a pace that belongs to rest rather than to action. This calming is not your doing. It is what happens when attention is given and sustained. Let the breath calm at whatever pace it calms. You are not trying to slow it down. You are only staying with it as it does what it does when the mind is present with it rather than away. When the mind moves away from the breath, and it will, possibly many times, possibly to the same thoughts it has already visited several times tonight, notice the movement without adding anything to the noticing. No frustration that the mind has left again. No analysis of where it went or why. Simply, the mind was elsewhere, and now it is back. Return to the breath that is happening right now. Find it at the nostrils, or in the rise and fall of the chest, or in the whole body moving with it. Take one breath with complete attention. That is all the returning requires. One breath, fully known. You are here again. The wandering of the mind is not an obstacle to this practice. It is simply the condition of the mind as it is right now. A mind that has been asked all day to move constantly from one thing to the next, and that does not yet know that this time is different. With each return to the breath, the mind learns something small but real, that the breath is still here, that returning is always possible, that there is ground to come back to. This learning does not happen all at once. It happens one return at a time. One breath, returned to, fully known. The breath has one quality that makes it uniquely suited to this hour of the night. The breath exists only in the present. It cannot be found in the past. The breath from 5 minutes ago is gone and cannot be recovered or revisited. It cannot be found in the future. The next breath has not yet arrived and cannot be anticipated or reached for. Only this breath, right now, is actually here. Only this inhale, this turning point, this exhale, this stillness at the bottom, this waiting for what comes next. To stay with the breath is to stay in the only moment that is actually available. Everything the mind worries about lives in a different time. The breath lives only now. Stay here now, with the breath that is actually present, knowing it, following it, breathing in, knowing you are breathing in, breathing out, knowing you are breathing out. As the practice continues, the breath may become very fine, very quiet. It may reach a point where it is difficult to locate clearly at the nostrils, the movement so small, the sensation so subtle that it requires a very delicate attention to follow at all. When this happens, follow it there, into the subtlety, into the quietness. Do not try to make the breath more obvious by deepening it artificially. Follow it as it is, however fine it has become, with an attention that has become equally fine, equally quiet, equally patient. A very fine breath is not a breath that is failing. It is a breath that belongs to a body that is deeply at rest. When the breath becomes very quiet, the body is telling you something true about where it is. Stay with it there. Follow the quiet breath into the quiet place it belongs to. Let the attention become as still as the breath is becoming. Let both of them find the place they are moving toward together. The breath and the mind that knows it, both arriving at the same stillness, at the same moment, in the same body. Breathing in, knowing you are breathing in. Breathing out, knowing you are breathing out. If sleep comes while the attention is still here, resting on the breath, that is, the practice completing itself in the most natural way available. Let it come. The breath will continue without you. It always has. When you are ready to continue, the next practice moves the same quality of attention that is now gathered here and carries it slowly through the whole body, part by part, releasing what the day has left behind in each one. The breath is still here. It will remain here through everything that follows. The breath does not stop when the attention moves. It continues, quietly, in the background, the way it has continued through every moment of this day and every day before it. What changes now is the direction of the attention itself. From the breath, we turn to the body. Buddhist practice has always understood the body as a primary field of investigation, not something to be escaped or transcended, not a problem to be solved, but the actual ground on which awareness lives. One of the oldest systematic teachings on meditation describes 4 foundations of mindfulness, and the first of these is the body itself. The instruction is simple and direct. Attend to the body as it actually is, from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet, and from the soles of the feet back to the crown of the head. Know each part of it. Be present with each part of it. Let nothing be overlooked. Tonight, that practice takes on a particular quality. The body lying here in the dark has been in almost continuous use since it woke this morning. It has stood and walked and sat and carried things. It has expressed and withheld and responded and absorbed. It has done all of this without complaint and largely without acknowledgement. Most of the day, the attention was everywhere except here, on the screen, on the conversation, on the task, on what came next. The body simply continued, registering everything that passed through it, carrying it all without being asked whether it was ready to carry more. Now the attention comes home, not to fix anything, not to correct anything or improve it, simply to be present with the body as it is right now, part by part, without hurry, with the same patient attention that was given to the breath. When attention arrives at any part of the body, something in that part often changes. Tension that was held without awareness begins to release. The body responds to being noticed, not because anything is being done to it, but because attention itself is something the body can receive. The body knows the difference between being attended to and being ignored. It has known this difference all day. Begin at the crown of the head. Bring the attention to the very top of the skull, not to the idea of it, to the actual physical sensation of that location right now. The weight of the head against the pillow, the temperature of the scalp, any sensation present at the top of the head, however faint. Simply know this part of the body. Be here with it for a moment before moving on. Now the forehead. Bring the full attention to the forehead, the broad surface of it, from the hairline down to the eyebrows. The forehead is one of the primary places where the effort of concentration gathers and stays. A day of reading, of screens, of problem solving, of navigating difficult situations. All of it tends to collect here, in a subtle drawing together of the muscles above the eyes. Most people carry this tension for so many hours that they stop noticing it entirely. Bring the attention to the forehead now and simply know what is there. Do not try to change it. Do not try to smooth it out. Just bring the light of awareness to this place and let it rest there. The space between the eyebrows themselves, the temples on each side of the head, where tension from the day often pools without ever fully releasing. Know each of these places. Let the attention move slowly, without skipping anything. There is time for all of it. The eyes, the eyelids resting closed, the eyeballs beneath them, soft and still in the darkness behind the lids. The eyes have been working since the moment they opened this morning, processing light, tracking movement, reading, watching faces, adjusting to screen after screen after screen. They are still now. Let the attention rest on them as they rest. Know them as they are, closed, quiet, done with seeing for tonight. The nose, the cheeks, the weight of the face itself, a weight that most people never notice because the face is always in use, always expressing something, always oriented toward the world. Right now, the face is not oriented toward anything. It is simply here. Know it here. The jaw. Bring particular attention to the jaw. The jaw is one of the places where the day lives longest after the day has ended. Everything that was swallowed rather than spoken, every moment of held patience, every careful choice of words, every moment of suppressed frustration, these tend to remain in the jaw long after the circumstances that produced them have passed. Bring the attention there now, not to force anything, simply to know what is there, to bring the awareness to the jaw and let it arrive. Notice whether there is any holding there. Notice whether the teeth are touching or slightly apart. Notice the area of the jaw joint just in front of each ear, where so much of the day's unexpressed tension gathers. Know all of this. Stay here a moment longer than feels necessary. The mouth, the lips, the tongue resting at the bottom of the mouth or lightly against the palate. Let the attention move through the whole face now as a single field. Forehead, eyes, cheeks, jaw, mouth, knowing the whole of it as the body of a face that has spent its day in the world and is now, finally, at rest. Now the neck, the column of the neck, which has balanced the weight of the head through every waking hour. The sides of the neck, the back of the neck, the front of the throat, through which everything spoken today has passed on its way into the world. Know the neck as it is now, horizontal, no longer bearing weight upright, resting against the pillow in a way that the day never permitted. Simply be here with it. The shoulders. Move the attention to both shoulders simultaneously. The shoulders carry more than the arms. They carry the posture of a person's relationship to what is expected of them. They rise when demands accumulate. They draw in when something must be endured. They hold long after the reason for holding has passed. Bring the attention fully to the shoulders now, the tops of them, the outer edges, the back of each shoulder, the place where the neck meets the shoulders on each side. Know this area completely. Stay with it. Let the attention itself be the only thing you offer here. Nothing else is needed from you. The upper arms, the elbows, the forearms, the wrists. Let the attention move down each arm in turn, slowly, knowing each part as it passes through the field of awareness. These arms have been reaching and lifting and carrying all day. They are at rest now. Let the awareness meet them in their resting. The hands. Bring full attention to the hands, the palms, the backs of the hands, each finger in turn, knowing it, present with it, feeling whatever sensation is there. The hands have been among the most active parts of the body today, typing, holding, gesturing, touching. They know a great deal about the day that just passed. Let them rest now in the full light of your attention, open or closed as they have settled naturally, simply known. Now the chest, the broad surface of the chest, rising and falling with each breath. Notice that the breath is still here, the same breath that was the object in the previous practice, now encountered from within the larger field of the body. The chest holds the breath and also holds more than the breath. The chest is one of the places where experience lands most directly, where grief sits, where anxiety lives, where the pressure of a difficult day is sometimes felt as physical weight. Know the chest as it is right now. Know what is here. Let the attention be steady and patient with whatever it finds. The belly. Let the attention move to the belly now, the whole area from the base of the chest to the hips. The belly is often held tighter than people realize, a subtle drawing in that persists through much of the waking day, a bracing against what might come next. Bring the attention here and simply know the belly as it is. Notice whether it is moving freely with each breath or whether there is still some holding present. Notice the warmth of it. Notice whatever sensation is here. Do not push the attention away. Stay. The lower back. Bring attention to the lower back, the area of the spine between the shoulder blades and the pelvis, which bears so much of the structural load of upright living. Notice how the lower back meets the surface it is resting on tonight, whether there is contact there or a small gap. Whatever is present, simply know it. The lower back rarely receives direct attention. Give it that attention now, fully, without hurry. The hips, the pelvis, the point of the hip resting against the surface below, the weight gathered here. Know this. Stay here. Now the legs. Let the attention move into the thighs, the long muscles of the front and back of each thigh, which have been working to move the body through the world since morning. Know the thighs as they are now, still, heavy, resting against each other or against the surface below. Move through the thighs slowly, not rushing toward the knees. There is time for the thighs. Let the attention stay here until this part of the body feels genuinely known. The knees, the particular weight and warmth of the knees as they rest. The backs of the knees, which rarely receive any attention at all. Know them now. The calves, the shins, the long muscles of the lower leg that have been propelling the body forward all day. They are not propelling anything now. They are simply here. Know them here. The outside of each ankle, the Achilles tendon at the back of each heel, the heel itself pressing into the surface or resting against the other leg. Each of these places known, attended to, not overlooked. The feet. Bring the attention all the way to the feet, the tops of them, the soles, the heels, each toe in turn. The feet have carried the entire weight of the body across the whole length of this day. They have touched the ground thousands of times. They end this day here, resting, no longer bearing anything. Know them all the way to the tips of the toes. Let no part of the body be left unattended tonight. Now let the attention open to the whole body at once. From the crown of the head to the soles of the feet, the entire body lying here in the dark, known part by part and now known as a whole. Feel the body as a single field of sensation rather than a collection of separate parts. The breath moving through the whole of it, the weight of it resting on the surface below, the warmth of it in the night air. This body, exactly as it is, having been given the attention it did not receive through the hours of the day. Notice whether the body feels different now than it did when the practice began. Not different in the sense of changed or improved, different in the sense of more present, more fully inhabited, more here. The body that was simply the vehicle for the day's activities is now something known from inside, attended to, present with, not left behind in the rush to get somewhere else. The breath continues. The body rests in the full awareness that has now moved through every part of it. And the mind, having spent this time attending closely to the body it inhabits, is now ready for the fourth practice, one that works not with the sensations of the body, but with the quality of mind that is now gathered and still enough to receive it. A practice that moves from knowing the body to actively cultivating something within it. Goodwill, warmth, The wish for well-being that Buddhist tradition has always understood as one of the most direct paths toward genuine peace. Something has shifted since this night began. The body that was carrying the full weight of the day when you first lay down is not the same body that is here now. It has been attended to. Each part of it has been known. The breath has moved through it with full attention. And now the practice turns towards something different in character from everything that has come before. What has come before has been practice directed at what is already present. The room, the breath, the body. What comes now is a cultivation. A deliberate turning of the mind in a particular direction and sustaining it there long enough for that direction to become the quality of the mind itself. The direction is goodwill, genuine wishing well. The orientation of the mind toward the happiness, the well-being, and the freedom from suffering of a living being, beginning with yourself and then moving outward without limit. Before we begin, something important must be said about what this practice is and what it is not. It does not ask you to feel anything you do not feel. It does not require warmth as a precondition. It does not ask you to manufacture an emotion that is not present or to pretend to a happiness that tonight does not contain. The mind may be tired right now. It may be carrying frustration, grief, or the particular flatness that comes from a day that asked more than it gave. None of this disqualifies you from this practice. What the practice asks is simpler and more honest than manufactured warmth. It asks you to recognize something that is already true before any feeling arises. That you want to be happy rather than unhappy. That you want to be well rather than unwell. That you want to be free from suffering rather than burdened by it. This is not a preference or an aspiration. It is the basic condition of being a conscious living being. The practice begins from that recognition and builds from there. The Buddha stated this directly. Among the benefits of cultivating goodwill, he listed these three that belong specifically to the night. One sleeps well, one wakes well, and one is not troubled by bad dreams. This is his teaching, from a text that has been transmitted without interruption for over 2,000 years. We practice it tonight in exactly the context he intended. And there is another text, one of the oldest and most widely recited in the entire tradition, known across every school of Buddhist practice, in every country where the teaching has taken root. It is a text that practitioners have returned to generation after generation, in exactly this moment, before sleep, in the dark, when the mind needs an object that is larger than its own worries. The text is a set of wishes, wishes for all living beings, without exception, extended in every direction the imagination can reach. We will return to it as the practice unfolds tonight. But first, we begin close. We begin here. We begin with yourself. Not an idealized version of yourself. Not a version that deserves to be wished well because of what was accomplished today or how the day went. Simply yourself, this person, lying here, tired, with whatever is unresolved, still unresolved, with whatever was difficult today still present somewhere in the body and the mind. This person, exactly as they are. Toward this person, offer the first wish. May I be happy. Stay with that. Do not move past it too quickly. Let the words find whatever space is available to receive them. There may be resistance, a part of the mind that has conditions attached to its own happiness that does not feel this person has earned the right to be wished well tonight. If that resistance is present, notice it without following it. Return to the wish itself. May I be happy. May I be well. Well-being is not the same as happiness. Happiness is something the mind reaches toward. Well-being is something that can be present even in difficult moments. The basic functioning of the body, the breath still moving, the capacity to lie down and rest after the day is done. Even tonight, with everything that has been heavy, some degree of well-being is here in this room. The wish for your own well-being is a wish for the continuation and deepening of what is already present. May I be well. May I be free from suffering. Not free from difficulty. The teaching does not promise the removal of difficulty from life. Free from the suffering the mind adds to difficulty, the layer of harsh self-judgment on top of what went wrong, the weight of tomorrow's problems carried into tonight, where they cannot be solved, the exhaustion of a mind that will not allow itself to rest, because rest has not yet been earned. May this mind, in this body, on this night, be free from that additional weight. May I be free from suffering. May I be at peace. Peace is not the absence of everything difficult. It is the quality of the mind when it is not at war with what is. When it has, even temporarily, set down the effort of trying to make things other than they are. This peace is available in this room, in this body, tonight, not as something to be achieved, but as something to be allowed. May I be at peace. Stay with these 4 wishes for several more cycles. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be free from suffering. May I be at peace. Move through them slowly, without hurry, letting each one be genuinely meant before the next arrives. Let the repetition deepen the quality rather than dilute it. Now bring to mind someone you love without difficulty, someone whose face arrives warmly and easily, someone whose happiness you want without condition, simply because they are who they are to you. Let that person be present in the awareness now, not as a thought to be analyzed, simply as a living being who is, like you, somewhere in this same night, wanting to be happy, wanting to be well, wanting to be free from suffering, wanting to be at peace. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be free from suffering. May you be at peace. Notice what happens when goodwill moves towards someone the mind genuinely cares for. The quality is different from when the wishes were directed inward. Something in the mind opens slightly. The contracted state of a mind watching over its own concerns begins, even briefly, to loosen. This is what the practice is pointing at. This quality, this specific loosening. Let the circle widen further now, beyond this one person, outward to all those whose lives have touched yours. Family, friends, people known well and people known only briefly, each of them somewhere in this night, each of them wanting the same 4 things. May all of you be happy. May all of you be well. May all of you be free from suffering. May all of you be at peace. And now, the ancient text returns. The text that practitioners have recited before sleep across centuries begins with an act of extraordinary scope. It does not stop at the people we know. It does not stop at the city or the country or the world as we can imagine it. It sends goodwill outward in every direction that exists, and then beyond the directions into the boundless. Whatever living beings there may be, the text says, without exception, whether weak or strong, whether long or large, medium or short, small or vast, whether seen or unseen, those who dwell near and those who dwell far, those already born and those yet to be born, may all beings, without a single exception, be happy. Let that wish move through you now, not as words to be recited mechanically, as a genuine extension of what has been building in this practice since the beginning. The goodwill that started with yourself and moved to those you love is now asked to move further, past the boundaries of the known, past the limits of the personally meaningful, out into the full extent of what lives and breathes and wants to be happy on this night. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. Now the 4 directions. The ancient text does not only send goodwill outward in a circle, it sends it in every spatial direction. And this is not a poetic flourish. It is a practice instruction. The mind is being asked to hold goodwill without any boundary at all, not bounded by who deserves it, not bounded by who is nearby, not bounded by what can be imagined. Goodwill without obstruction, without exclusion, without limit. Send it now to all beings to the east of this room, however far east extends, however many beings live in that direction. May all beings to the east be happy. May all beings to the east be well. May all beings to the east be free from suffering and at peace. To the west, all beings in that direction, without exception, may they be happy. May they be well. May they be free from suffering and at peace. To the north, to the south, to every point between, all beings in all directions, near and far, known and unknown, all of them carrying the same basic wish you carry, the wish to be happy, the wish to be well, the wish to be free from what causes suffering. May all beings in all directions be happy. May all beings in all directions be well. May all beings in all directions be free from suffering. May all beings in all directions be at peace. And above, whatever lives above this room, above this city, above this world, may all beings above be happy. May all beings above be well. May all beings above be free from suffering and at peace. And below, whatever lives in the earth, in the ground beneath this room, in the depths beneath this world, may all beings below be happy. May all beings below be well. May all beings below be free from suffering and at peace. Without obstruction, without hatred, without ill will, goodwill flowing in every direction that exists, above and below and all around, without a single exception, without a single boundary, without limit. Rest in that boundlessness for a moment. The mind that has been contracted around the concerns of one day, in one life, in one body, has just been asked to hold something that has no edges. This is not a mistake in the practice. This is the point of the practice. A mind that is genuinely attempting to hold goodwill without any boundary at all is a mind that has, at least for these moments, left behind the small and exhausting project of monitoring its own performance. It is fully occupied with something else entirely, something that belongs to this hour and to no other. Let the wishes continue at whatever pace they continue, or let them dissolve into the quality they have produced and simply rest in that quality without the words. Either way is the practice. The words are a vehicle. What they carry is what matters. The fifth and final practice of the night works with something that is now available because of everything that has come before. A mind that has attended to the body, known the breath, and extended goodwill without boundary to all beings in all directions. What remains is simply to let the day be finished, to recognize that what this night requires is not more effort but less, not more doing, but the wisdom of knowing when doing is done. The goodwill that has been moving outward through this practice has done something to the quality of the mind. There is more stillness here than there was at the beginning of the night. More room. The fifth practice works within that room. It is the final practice, and in some ways the simplest. It asks the mind to do one thing: see clearly what is already true about tonight. The teaching that underlies this practice comes from a single verse in a text that has been carried and recited for over 2,000 years. The verse says this: health is the highest gain. Contentment is the highest wealth. Trust is the best relative. And the highest happiness is the release from craving. Health is the highest gain. Contentment is the highest wealth. Let those two lines rest in the mind for a moment. The teaching is making a very specific claim about what actually matters in a life. Most people spend their days accumulating more, better, further along. The teaching says, among all the things you can have, contentment, the simple sense that what is here is enough, is worth more than any of them. And contentment is something that accumulating can never produce. It is found only by stopping and looking clearly at what is already present. This matters tonight because of something very specific the mind does when the lights go out. It measures. It reviews the day and runs it through a kind of accounting. What was done, what was left undone, what went well, what fell short, whether today added up to enough. This measuring can go on for a long time in the dark, and it never quite reaches a conclusion, because the measuring mind never settles on what enough actually means. It just keeps measuring. And while it is measuring, the nervous system remains in the state that the 4 previous practices have been gently, patiently working to release. Contentment is the recognition that the measuring can stop, that the day was what it was, that the person lying here did what they did with what they had, that the unfinished things are real and will wait without needing any attention from the mind tonight to stay real. Monks and nuns in the tradition, this teaching comes from practiced contentment as a daily discipline. The practice was concrete. Accept what is offered in terms of food, clothing, shelter, and medicine, and let that be sufficient for the day. This was a training in something very specific, releasing the habit of measuring what is present against what could theoretically be different. The mind has a strong tendency to take any situation and immediately compare it to an imagined alternative. The food that is here compared to the food that would be better. The progress made today compared to the progress that could have been made. The comparing generates a gap, and the gap generates a kind of quiet suffering that runs in the background of a person's day without ever being identified as the source of their restlessness. The contentment the teaching points toward is what arrives when the comparing stops, when the mind simply rests in what is here rather than measuring it against what is not. This is also a teaching about rest itself. The mind that can rest is a mind that has found, at least temporarily, that what is present is sufficient to rest in. This body is sufficient. This night is sufficient. The rest that is available here is sufficient. The practice of contentment is the practice of actually believing that, not as an affirmation, but as a clear seeing of what is true. Let the mind rest on today now, not to review it, just to acknowledge it. This day happened. It had the shape it had. It contained what it contained. The moments that worked and the moments that did not. The things that got done and the things that did not. The conversations that landed well and the ones that fell somewhere short of what you hoped for. All of that was today. All of it ended when today ended. The day closed when the day closed, regardless of where the list stood at that moment. Through all of it, the person lying here did what they did with what they had. Say that plainly to yourself now, without making it bigger than it is, and without making it smaller. Decisions were made with the information available when they were made. Responses came from the energy that was present in those moments, and energy moves through the hours of a day. It is not the same at 3 in the afternoon as it was at 9 in the morning. The person who handled things at 3 in the afternoon was working with what 3 in the afternoon had left. That is the only person who was available for that moment. That is who was there. Now bring attention to the things that are still unfinished. They are probably still present in the mind somewhere. The task that did not get completed, the message that did not get sent, the conversation that was not had, the item that has been on the list for longer than feels comfortable. Let each of these be present for a moment, acknowledged, seen clearly, given the recognition that they are real. And then this, none of them require anything from you tonight. Not one of them will change in any way based on how much of tonight you spend reviewing them. They will be exactly where they are in the morning. The task will still be there. The message will still need to be sent. The conversation will still need to be had. All of it will be waiting, unchanged, in the exact state it is in right now. Tonight has nothing to offer them. Morning has something to offer them. A mind that has rested, a body that has recovered, a clearer capacity to do what needs to be done. That mind is what these things are waiting for. Let them wait for it. Now bring attention to the voice that compares. Every person lying awake at night knows this voice. It is the voice that looks at today and then immediately looks at some other version of today, a version in which more was accomplished, fewer mistakes were made, things were handled more gracefully. It is the voice that measures this person against other people, people who seem to be managing better, doing more, handling things with an ease that this person does not seem to have tonight. It is the voice that is never quite satisfied, and it is the voice that generates, more than almost anything else, the suffering that keeps people awake in the dark. The teaching on contentment is very clear about this voice. It is not a reliable narrator. The alternative versions of today that it offers for comparison do not exist. The people it holds up as doing better are not visible from the inside of their own experience. The comparison is always made between what this person knows about their own inner experience and what is visible from the outside of someone else's life. It is not a fair comparison, and allowing it to run through the night treats it as though it is carrying useful information, when what it is actually carrying is suffering. Let the comparing voice be present without following it anywhere. It will speak. It may speak several times before this night is over. The practice of contentment is simply this: hear it, recognize it for what it is, and return the attention to what is actually here. Not what could be here, not what should be here. What is here? What is here is a body that has been cared for tonight. A body that has been positioned deliberately, attended to part by part, breathed through with full attention, and wrapped in goodwill extended to all beings in all directions. What is here is a night that is offering rest to this body and this mind. What is here is sufficient. It is sufficient for tonight. It is sufficient right now. Health is the highest gain. Contentment is the highest wealth. Let those words settle into the body now, not as a thought to analyze, as a recognition. The body lying here is alive and breathing. That is health. It is present in this room, at the end of this day, with everything that the day contained. That is the basis for contentment. Not a perfect day, a real one, and a body that came through it. From here, the practice moves into silence. There is nothing more to do. The 5 practices are complete. The room has been prepared. The body has been settled and attended to. The breath has been known, followed, and allowed to find its own quiet rhythm. The body has been moved through with full attention, part by part, from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet. Goodwill moved outward to all beings in all directions, without limit or exception. And the day has been acknowledged, seen clearly, and released. What remains is simply to be here, in this body, in this room, in this night that is doing what nights do, offering the body exactly the thing it has needed since the first hours of this day. Rest does not need to be earned. It does not need to be deserved. It needs only to be received. And you have built the conditions for receiving it through everything that has happened in this room tonight. Let the breath continue as it continues. Let the body rest as it rests. Let the mind be exactly as quiet or as active as it is, without adding anything to it and without asking it to be otherwise. If sleep comes now, let it come. If thoughts continue for a while longer, Let them move through the way clouds move through a sky that does not need to do anything about them. The 5 practices are behind you now. What follows in this night is not another practice. What follows is an understanding, a look at what is happening inside the body when genuine rest arrives, so that when sleep comes, you come to it knowing something real about what you are stepping into, about what the night is actually for, about why the body has been asking for this all day. Something is already happening. Right now, in this body, in this room, in this dark. You do not need to do anything to make it happen. You do not need to guide it or understand it or assist it in any way. It is already in motion. It has been moving toward this moment since the first hour of this day, building through every hour of waking, waiting with the patience of something that knows its time will come, waiting for exactly this. The body finally still, the mind finally quieter than it has been all day, the room dark and safe, and no longer asking anything of you. What is happening is healing. And the remarkable thing, the thing that both an ancient tradition and modern science have arrived at, from completely different directions, using completely different tools, is that this healing was not an accident. It did not happen simply because the body was horizontal and the lights were off. It happened because of what you brought to this night, because of the quality of attention and care that moved through the 5 practices, because the body was prepared rather than merely exhausted into stillness. The tradition understood this, and in a different language, so does the science. Buddhist practice has always placed the body at the center of the path. This is not what people often expect when they think of meditation or of spiritual practice. Many traditions treat the body as something to be overcome, as a source of distraction, an obstacle, something the serious practitioner learns to ignore or move past. Buddhist teaching takes the opposite view. The oldest instructions on meditation begin with the body. The body is the first foundation. The body is the ground on which everything else is built. And a ground that is neglected, a ground that is depleted, a ground that is never given what it requires to remain capable, cannot support what is planted in it. Practitioners who lived inside this tradition across many centuries observed something that any person who has ever tried to meditate while genuinely exhausted already knows. The quality of the mind available for practice depends directly on the quality of rest the body has received. A body that has not slept cannot sit with the patience that the practice requires. A mind that has not been given the depth of rest it needs becomes reactive where it would otherwise be steady, clouded where it would otherwise be clear, brittle where it would otherwise bend without breaking. The fatigue is not something a determined practitioner can simply push through. The ground must be maintained. The body must be given what it needs, not as a concession to weakness, as an understanding of how the whole system actually works. So the deliberate preparation for sleep was built into the practicing life. The conscious turning away from stimulation as the day ended, the setting of intention before lying down, the attention to the body as it settled. All of this was understood as practice, as the continuation of the path into the hours that most people simply fall through without any awareness at all. The tradition was saying, even here, even in this, how you come to rest matters. Modern science came to the sleeping body much later, with instruments and methods that the ancient teachers never had. And the picture it found inside the sleeping body was extraordinary. Not the body waiting passively for morning, not the brain simply switched off until needed again. Something far more active, far more purposeful, far more essential to the capacity of the person who would wake the next day. During sleep, the brain clears itself. The activity of thinking and feeling and deciding through the hours of waking leaves behind biological residue that accumulates through the day. During sleep, specifically during the deepest stages of sleep, the spaces between the brain cells widen considerably. Fluid flows through those widened spaces in slow, rhythmic pulses. The residue of the day is carried away with it. The brain wakes each morning cleaner than it was the night before, if it was given the depth of rest where this process can actually run. In a brain that regularly reaches that depth, this clearing happens fully, night after night, like a room that is cleaned each evening so that the morning finds it ready. In a brain that does not regularly reach that depth, the residue accumulates, slowly, day by day, in ways that are not always visible until the accumulation has been building for a long time. The tradition said, care for the body or the practice will suffer. Care for the ground or what grows in it will diminish. Science found that the brain left uncleaned by insufficient sleep becomes, over time, measurably less capable. The clarity dims. The memory weakens. The capacity to respond to what is difficult with steadiness rather than reaction erodes in ways the tired mind is often the last to notice about itself. These are not two separate discoveries. They are the same truth arrived at through entirely different means by people separated by 2,000 years and a completely different understanding of what the body is and how it works. Deep sleep also does something else. Something that has no waking equivalent and cannot be replicated by any amount of conscious effort or deliberate reflection. During the deepest stages of sleep, the experiences of today are processed and integrated. What was learned is strengthened. What was practiced is consolidated into something more deeply held than it was before sleep. The conversation that brought new understanding, the problem that was worked through, the small moment of insight that arrived unexpectedly in the middle of an ordinary afternoon. All of it is given a more permanent home in the memory during the deep stages of sleep than it had when the day ended. The person who wakes tomorrow knows more deeply, understands more fully, is more capable in the areas where today brought practice, because of work done in the silence of the night, without any effort from them at all. The tradition identified tranquility as one of the 7 conditions for wisdom to develop, 7 qualities of mind that, when cultivated together, create the conditions under which genuine clarity and understanding become possible. Tranquility is the 5th of these, the deep settling of the body and the mind together, the quality that arises when restlessness has been met and worked through, and what remains is genuine stillness. The teaching is precise about what this quality makes possible. From tranquility, a natural joy arises. From joy, the mind becomes fully gathered to itself, no longer scattered across the 1,000 concerns of the day. And from that gathered mind, the kind of seeing that goes all the way through a thing and understands it as it actually is becomes possible. The whole chain of conditions begins with settling. The whole sequence that leads toward wisdom begins with rest. Science found that deep sleep is where the brain consolidates what it has learned, integrates what it has experienced, and prepares the mind that will wake tomorrow to be more than the mind that went to sleep tonight. The tradition found that tranquility is the condition under which wisdom deepens and understanding becomes more complete. The mind that is always running cannot integrate what it has encountered. The mind that is allowed to stop, genuinely stop, receives in the stopping what the running could never produce. This is not a loose analogy between two different things. It is the same observation about the same mind made from two different vantage points across 2,000 years. In the second half of the night, the brain does something else entirely. Something that no waking hour can replicate or substitute for. During the stage of sleep in which dreams occur, the brain returns to the emotionally significant moments of the day. The conversation that landed harder than expected, the experience that was absorbed and carried without ever finding a place to rest. The thing that happened this afternoon that the mind has been circling without being able to settle. The weight that was not put down when the day ended because there was nowhere to put it. The brain finds each of these in the night and returns to them, but in a chemical environment that has no waking equivalent. The body's stress chemistry goes quiet during this stage of sleep, completely quiet. The only moment in the entire cycle of the day and night when this happens. And in that quiet, the brain can hold even painful material without the charge of the original experience. The experience can be touched, examined, moved through, all without the alarm the body sounded when it first arrived. Slowly, through this process, the sharp edge of a difficult memory begins to soften. The weight that felt impossible when it first landed becomes, in the careful hands of the sleeping brain, something slightly more possible to carry. The same experience that felt unbearable the night before feels more manageable in the morning. And this is not the distortion of distance or the forgetfulness of a mind that simply did not want to deal with what was hard. It is the result of genuine processing that happened in the only hours when that particular chemistry is available. The night worked on it, quietly, thoroughly, without being asked. The tradition speaks of the traces that difficult experiences leave in the mind. Impressions that accumulate over time and that, when left unmet, to shape the way the mind responds to everything that comes after them. The practice of mindfulness works to meet these traces with awareness, to see them clearly, to allow them to be fully present rather than pushed away, and through that presence to gradually release the hold they have on the way the mind moves through the world. This work is done during the hours of practice, and a version of it is also done during the hours of sleep. Every night, automatically, for every person who reaches the depth of rest where it can occur. The practice and the sleep are not in competition with each other or doing separate things that happen to overlap. They are companions working on the same project from different angles. Together, over months and years, the weight carried from day to day becomes lighter. The reactions that once felt inevitable become, gradually, more possible to meet with steadiness. The traces that once gripped the mind loosen their hold. This is the work of a life taken seriously in both its waking and its sleeping hours. This is what is waiting for you on the other side of where you already are. The cleaning is already beginning. The integration is already beginning. The softening of what was hard today is already beginning. None of it requires anything further from you. All of it simply requires the depth of rest that this entire night has been patiently building toward. And here is the point where both the tradition and the science arrive at the same place, at the same time. The quality of preparation shapes the quality of rest. A mind that arrives at the threshold of sleep already settled, already attended to, already signaled that the night is safe and the guard can come down, descends more readily and more deeply into the stages where all of this work is done. A mind that arrives still carrying the full unresolved weight of the day spends part of the available night simply decelerating. And the time spent decelerating is time taken from the cleaning, the integration, the softening, the work the night is for. Think about what happened in this room tonight. The body was placed in its position with deliberate intention. The breath was found and followed with full attention, known as it actually was, long or short, all the way in and all the way out. Each part of the body was visited and attended to from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet. Goodwill moved outward to all beings in all directions without limit or exception. And the day was seen clearly, acknowledged for what it was, and released into the night that is capable of receiving it. Each of these was a signal. Each one was the practice's way of telling the nervous system, in the language it actually understands, that the threat has passed, the guard can come down, the night is safe, the depth of rest is available, and everything that requires that depth is ready to begin. The body arrived at this threshold prepared. The mind arrived quieter than it has been all day. The work of the night can begin from here rather than from wherever the unresolved day would have left things. Now the 5 practices return one final time, slower than before, with longer silence between each step, with the knowledge that the body has already traveled this path once tonight and carries the memory of it in the way the body carries what it has learned, not as information, but as something known in the muscles and the breath and the settling of the weight against the surface. What was encountered for the first time earlier this night is now familiar. The familiar path asks less of the mind. It can be walked more easily, more quietly, more deeply, with less distance between the first step and the place the path leads. Let the body lead now. Let the mind follow the body the way it learned tonight to follow the breath, without grasping at what comes next, without holding on to where it has been, without needing to confirm that it is doing this correctly. Simply here, moving with the practice, moving in the direction of the rest the body has been building towards since this night began. The night knows what to do with a body and a mind brought to it this way. Follow the breath back to where the practice begins. The path is already inside the body. It was learned earlier tonight. The body traveled it once already. It knows the direction. It knows how each step feels from the inside. What is asked of you now is only this: follow where the body already knows to go. No effort, No careful attention to whether you are doing this correctly. The second time through a path asks less of the mind than the first time did. Simply be here. Simply move with what comes. Begin by noticing the body in its position, the weight of it against the surface, the places where the body and the bed meet, the head against the pillow, the shoulder pressed into the surface below, the hip, the outer leg, the ankle, the foot. All of these points of contact. All of this weight that does not have to be held up anymore tonight. Feel the surface holding all of it. Every pound, every part of the body that has been standing and moving and carrying itself through the world since this morning. The surface takes all of it now, without effort, without asking anything in return. Let the body settle a little more deeply into that support. Not a dramatic release, a gradual giving over. The shoulder dropping a fraction more, the jaw releasing a little, the breath moving through a body that is, with each passing moment, a little more on the surface and a little less in the air. Before the breath practice begins, set the intention for this second pass. Not an elaborate intention, something very simple. Something as plain as, tonight I follow where the body leads. Or simply, tonight I let go. Whatever is true for you in this moment. Say it once, quietly, and then release it. Now the breath. Find it where it is easiest to feel. At the nostrils, perhaps the slight coolness of air entering, the slight warmth of air leaving, or in the rise and fall of the chest, or in the slow movement of the belly. Wherever the breath is most clearly present to you right now, bring the attention there. And simply know the breath as it is. Breathing in. Know that you are breathing in. Breathing out. Know that you are breathing out. Is this breath long or short? Notice it. Not to judge it. Just to know it. To be present with the breath that is actually here right now, in this body, in this moment. Breathe in. Follow the breath all the way in. From the first movement of air at the nostrils, through the passage inward, into the chest as it opens to receive the breath, all the way to the end of the inhale. The brief fullness before the direction changes. Breathe out. Follow the breath all the way out. The chest lowering. The belly releasing. The warmth of the outgoing breath at the nostrils. All the way to the end of the exhale. The natural stillness at the bottom. The pause before the next breath arrives on its own. Wait in that stillness. Do not reach for the next breath. Let it come when it comes, in its own time, at its own pace. Breathing in, knowing you are breathing in. Breathing out, knowing you are breathing out. Let the whole body breathe now. With each inhale, feel the whole body receiving the breath. the ribcage expanding in all directions, the belly rising gently, the slight movement that passes through the shoulders, the neck, all the way to the top of the head, the whole body participating in this breath. With each exhale, feel the whole body releasing, the chest lowering, the belly softening, the back settling a little more into the surface below it. The whole body on the exhale returning, with each cycle, to a place that is a little more still, a little more inward, a little more at rest than it was on the breath before. Breathing in, the whole body. Breathing out, the whole body. If the mind has moved away from the breath, and it may have many times, simply return. No commentary about having left. Just return to this breath, the one that is happening right now, the only one that is actually here. Breathing in, breathing out, the breath becoming quieter, finer, more gentle with each cycle, the body following the breath into the quiet place the breath is moving toward. Stay with the breath now without any further instruction. Simply breathing, simply knowing. When you are ready, let the attention open from the breath to the body. We move through the body now. Slowly, from the top of the head to the soles of the feet, each part attended to, each part known, nothing left in the dark. The crown of the head, bring the attention there now. The top of the skull, the weight of the head resting, the temperature of the scalp. Simply know this part of the body. Be here with it. The forehead, the broad surface of it, the space between the eyebrows where the day's concentration has been gathering since morning. Bring the attention here and let it rest. Do nothing with what you find. Simply arrive here and stay a moment. The eyes, closed and still. The eyelids soft. The eyes that have been working since the moment they opened this morning. Done with seeing for tonight. Let the attention rest on them as they rest. The jaw, the place where so much of the day's unexpressed weight tends to gather and remain. Bring the full attention here. Simply know what is present. Let the attention itself be everything you offer this place. The mouth, the lips, the throat, through which everything spoken today passed on its way into the world, and everything not spoken held in place. Give this place a moment of recognition. The neck, no longer bearing the weight of the head upright, resting now in the way the day never permitted. Know it here. The shoulders, both of them, the tops, the outer edges, the backs, the place where the neck meets the shoulder on each side. Everything this area was asked to carry today. Bring the attention fully here and simply let it arrive. The upper arms, the elbows, the forearms, the wrists. Let the attention move down each arm slowly, knowing each part as it passes through the awareness. The hands, the palms, the backs of the hands, each finger, the hands that held and built and touched and carried today. Let them rest now in the full light of the attention, open or closed as they have settled, simply known. The chest, rising and falling with each breath. The breath still here, still present, moving through this body that is now being known from the inside. Stay here a moment longer than feels necessary. The belly, the whole area from the base of the chest to the hips. Let the attention arrive here and rest. Simply notice what is present. The lower back, rarely attended to, bearing so much through the hours of waking. Notice how it meets the surface it is resting on tonight. Give it the recognition it rarely receives. The hips, the pelvis, the weight gathered here, the foundation of the body at rest. The thighs, long and heavy and still. The muscles that moved the body through the day now resting completely against each other or against the surface below. The knees, the calves, the shins, the ankles. Let the attention move through each of these slowly, not rushing, not skipping anything. Each part known before the attention moves on. The feet, all the way to the soles. The heels, each toe. The feet that carried the entire weight of the body across the whole length of this day. They are done with carrying anything tonight. Let them be known all the way to their ends. Now let the attention open to the whole body at once. From the crown of the head to the soles of the feet, the entire body lying here in the dark, attended to, known from the inside, not left alone in the dark. Feel the breath still moving through all of it. The whole body breathing in. The whole body breathing out. Stay here for as long as the body asks you to stay. And when you are ready, the fourth practice. Bring yourself to mind. This person, lying here, in this room, at the end of this particular day, with everything it contained. And toward this person, the first wish. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be free from suffering. May I be at peace. Let the wishes settle. Let them be as genuine as they can be in this moment. Not forced. Not performed. As honest as anything you have said all day. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be free from suffering. May I be at peace. Now bring to mind someone you love. let their face arrive gently. Someone whose happiness you want simply because they are who they are to you. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be free from suffering. May you be at peace. And further now, all beings sharing this night, all of them in their own rooms, in their own darkness, carrying their own days, each of them wanting what you have been wishing for yourself. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. In every direction, to the east and to the west, to the north and to the south, above and below, all beings everywhere, without a single exception, without a single boundary. May all beings everywhere be happy. May all beings everywhere be well. May all beings everywhere be free from suffering. May all beings everywhere be at peace. Rest in the quality that has gathered here, the warmth of it, the openness, the particular quality of a mind that has been turned, for these minutes, away from its own concerns and toward the well-being of all beings, including itself. Stay here as long as the practice holds you. And when you are ready, the fifth and final practice of this night, let the mind rest on today. Not to review it, not to assess it, simply to acknowledge it. This day happened. It had the shape it had. The person lying here did what they did with what they had. Say that plainly to yourself now, without making it larger than it is, without making it smaller. Simply true. Health is the highest gain. Contentment is the highest wealth. Let those words move through the body now. The body lying here is alive and breathing. That is health. Present in this room, at the end of this day, with everything it contained. That is the basis for contentment. A real day, and a body that came through it. Now the unfinished things. Let them be present for a moment, acknowledged, seen clearly, real. And then this. None of them require anything from tonight. They will be exactly where they are in the morning, unchanged, waiting. And the mind that meets them after this night of genuine rest will be more capable of meeting them than the mind that carried them through the dark. Let them wait. Now the comparing voice, if it is present, the voice that looks at today and immediately finds the version of today that would have been better, simply notice it. Hear it without following it anywhere. The alternative versions of today it offers do not exist. They never existed. What existed is this, this person, this day, this body that is here now. What is here is enough. For this night, for this body, for this moment, what is here is enough. Let the measuring stop now. Let the reviewing stop. Let the planning for tomorrow stop. The night is here. The body is ready. The 5 practices are complete. There is nothing more to do. The breath continues. In and out. The body resting in the stillness that 5 practices have built. The cleaning already beginning. The integration already beginning. The softening of what was hard today already beginning. All of it happening without any effort from you now. All of it simply requiring the one thing you have been building all night. The depth of rest that comes to a body and a mind that have been genuinely prepared. Let the breath be very quiet now. Let it find the pace that belongs to a body that is done for the day. Fine and slow and gentle. Almost imperceptible. The breath of a body that has, at last, completely stopped. If sleep comes now, let it come. There is nowhere else to go. Nothing else to do. No further practice. No further instruction. Only this breath and the body breathing it, and the dark that is holding both of them gently through this night. The body knows what comes next. Let it lead. Let the breath be the last thing the mind holds. And then let even that go. Simply here. Simply breathing. Simply this. The night is doing what nights do. And you are doing what you came here to do. Rest. Morning will come. It always does. And when it comes, something will be different about the person who wakes to meet it. The cleaning will have happened. The integration will have happened. The softening of what was hard yesterday will have happened. Not because anything in the world changed while you slept, but because the mind was given the depth of rest in which it does its most essential work. Before the first obligation of tomorrow reaches for you, there will be a moment. A single, brief moment between sleep and the beginning of the day. The eyes not yet open. The body awake, but the day not yet started. A moment of pure receiving before the mind begins its familiar work of planning and reviewing and preparing. Stay in that moment a little longer than usual tomorrow. Notice what is there. Notice how the body feels before any story about the day has been added to it. Notice whether something that was heavy last night is lighter this morning. That is the practice continuing. That is the night having done what nights are for. That is the body returning what was given to it. Tonight was enough. You were enough. Sleep well.